So I have three questions here by someone. I will read the first one. How can one take impermanence to heart? Are there specific practices one can do to become more acutely aware of the fact that we are going to die? So impermanence, death, happens to be one of my favorite topics, Dharma topics. Dying and death, impermanence. Yes, there are variety of different kinds of death meditations. Like here, it was particularly asked for specific practices what one could do, and well, death meditation can take many kinds of forms. Just use your imagination, really. Think of different ways of dying, how it could happen, how soon it could happen, how unexpectedly it could happen, how it would feel like if one died, you died sooner or a lot sooner than you thought. How would it affect your life? How would it affect the lives of your close ones? And things like that. You can just kind of keep rolling the idea, the theme in your mind. But when it comes to that's like contemplation. But when it comes to meditation practice, yeah, that can also how I practiced it was just to apply creativity. So thinking of different ways of dying, passing away. Like for example, it is said that heart attack is a very quick way to die. It happens quickly, so it's easy in that sense. But then there are other not so easy ways to die, like long illness or just dying because of age, high age, when the inner organs just stop working properly. And this can be visualized. You just sit down in a calm place and start playing with the idea. Imagining, for example, if we meditate on dying because of an illness, we can imagine how we get sick, like properly sick, not just a common flu, but properly sick in a way that you know for sure that you will die. There's no going back. And that's important to in death meditation to have that sense of it being final. Does it make sense in English? That there's no going back, that it's really happening. Because that's what makes it like a proper meditation or a preliminary, like a practice of impermanence, Dharma practice. So that seriousness, sense of finalness has to be there. So if we think of dying of cancer, you can just imagine, go through, visualize. Maybe you can find out how cancer progresses, or if it's other illness. You can also just use an imagination. Just imagine that you have some horrible illness that makes your body, you know, nasty looking, really ill, not so that it doesn't, you just lose the ability to function, I think. Just playing with it. So illness is one thing, high age is another. You can imagine that, as we have seen, old people, 80, 90, 100 years old, who become fragile and thin, their hearing gets poorer, vision gets poorer, the whole body just starts crumbling little by little, until it just breaks for good. Then, like, one of my favorite death meditations is to imagine dying because of some dramatic accident, for example. Accident, or being attacked, or something dramatic. How would it be if you were walking in nature and all of a sudden be attacked by a bear, for example, get bitten properly in the neck, blood gushing out, and you just know that this is it. There's no going back. It's kind of a somebody's laughing here, me talking about this, but it happens to people. You know, people do get attacked by wild animals.
I'm laughing because I often have these scenarios.
Right.
Fun.
Yeah. Or dying in a traffic accident, for example. Just think of sudden ways of dying. So these are like meditations of death that concern ourselves, right? But death meditation can also be applied to other people. And this is often, at least to me as a family man, it's a lot harder, thinking of your loved ones dying, and especially like spouse and children, mother, father, siblings. But all of these are good themes of contemplation. So the question was that how can one take impermanence to heart, really get it, is that I think that the practice of death meditation is not that difficult. You just start thinking about it and visualizing it and contemplating it, but that sense of finalness has to be there. Like, for example, if we think of dying because of drowning into water, we all have been, when swimming in a pool or lake or sea, we have been sometimes taking air and putting our head below the surface of the water, knowing that when we get uncomfortable, then we pop our head back. But if it's death meditation, then you're not getting back up. There's the sense of finalness there, which makes it a whole different thing. And what was the other example that I was thinking? Yeah, and you can imagine that once you have died, how your body is taken care of, washed by people, glad by people. You can visualize your funeral, your loved ones being there, looking at your dead body, mourning, and finally how if you are going to be buried in a casket, how that casket is being put inside the ground, and the door of it is already closed, and how you can imagine, you know that there's no coming back from there, and you can hear how the people start throwing sand on the coffin. Coffin was the word that I was looking for. Yeah, death meditation to me has been a really big one since I was a boy. I've done it a lot. Just remembering my mortality, and it's also a very good tool when one is having a dark night or just busy mind. But the moment you start remembering properly your mortality, it cuts off the BS really fast.
You're going to Dachau concentration camp, aren't you?
Sorry?
You're going to a
Yeah.
concentration. That's similar, isn't it?
Yeah. Pilgrimage to Dachau concentration camp. That will be a interesting trip.